There's one thing that's the number one indicator for things like hypertension, kidney disease, liver disease, PCOS, and erectile dysfunction, and it's insulin resistance. So if you want to understand, do you have insulin resistance or not? Are you at risk for any of those disorders? Then you might want to take a look at this calculation. Now, this calculation is going to require you to ask your physician for an additional test. You should be getting a comprehensive metabolic panel once a year, every year, to just check up on your health. It's going to give you a number of numbers. Some of them are your lipids. It's going to also give you an idea of what your fasting blood glucose looks like. But because insulin resistance doesn't show up before those blood glucose numbers show up, it's important to ask for a HOMA insulin resistance test or a homeostatic model assessment for insulin resistance. According to Dr. Sten Ekberg, it's only going to cost you about $20 additional to add that to the comprehensive metabolic panel. So ask for it when you get those numbers back. What you want to do is take the fasting glucose number and multiply it by the HOMA-IR number. That total number that you get, you'll then divide by 407. When you get that number, it should be a value between 0.5 and 1.5 if you're insulin sensitive and your metabolism is running reasonably well. It's a better indicator than HOMA-IR alone, because we're looking at the insulin's response to glucose. Now that calculation is if you're doing milligrams per deciliter, so you'll need to check that on your labs or ask your doctor. If your labs come back in the form of millimoles per deciliter, you're going to do the same calculation, fasting glucose times the HOMA-IR, but now you're going to divide it by 22.5, and you should get the same resulting number, 0.5 to 1.5, if you're reasonably metabolically healthy. If it's above that, then you likely have insulin resistance and you should start addressing it before you start having problems with those kidneys, the liver, the gallbladder, your heart, PCOS, erectile dysfunction, and so much more. So I hope this helps you have another avenue to tell if you're insulin resistant or not, so that you can start to address it and get your health back.